Pain has a way of shaping people long before the world ever knows their name. For 16-year-old Alara James, moving to a new school in the middle of junior year wasn't just a change of scenery, it was a desperate attempt to escape the whispers of a past too heavy for most adults to carry. On her very first day at Crestwood High, as drizzle streaked the glassy morning skies and thunder growled faintly in the distance, Alara stepped through the school gates with trembling hands and a heart that had forgotten what hope felt like. Her soft hazel eyes seemed to carry hidden storms, and though she tried to disappear into the sea of unfamiliar faces, destiny had already marked her moment. Little did anyone know, by lunch hour, the entire school would witness something so shocking that even the cruelest among them would fall into stunned, shame-filled silence. Yellow heart, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope Yellow Heart. Alara had always been quiet, the kind of girl who blended into the back row and stitched her pain behind forced smiles. Her mother, a hard-working waitress still grappling with medical bills from Alara's father's sudden passing, couldn't afford new clothes or fancy shoes. So Alara walked into Crestwood wearing a faded navy skirt a little too big on her waist, a second-hand blouse slightly frayed at the seams, and scuffed black flats that whispered stories of the nights she secretly wiped them clean. From the moment she appeared in homeroom, laughter flickered at the edges of the classroom. Snickers buzzed in her ears. Some mocked her thrift store look. Others leaned in close, whispering malicious predictions about how long she would last before she broke down. Crestwood High had royalty, and its cruel queen was Madison Blake, a rich, magnetic girl with glossy chestnut hair, designer outfits, and a heart wrapped in ice. Her entourage, nicknamed the Vipers, followed every flick of Madison's manicured finger. They loved nothing more than feasting on vulnerability. As fate would have it, when Alara cautiously stepped into the crowded cafeteria, clutching a low-cost lunch tray of wilted salad and a bruised apple, she unknowingly walked right into their hunting grounds. Madison's eyes narrowed with wicked delight as she watched Alara search for a seat. Just as Alara tried to settle quietly at an empty corner table, the Vipers swooped down, circling her like predators. They smirked, pretending to welcome her, only to loudly mock her mother's job, her father's death, the holes in her sweater. Each word hit Alara like a slap, but she kept her head down, whispering apologies to nobody and clutching her tray as though it were a shield carved from pure desperation. But cruelty is never satisfied with silence. And so, it escalated. With a theatrical gasp and exaggerated laughter, Madison stepped forward, hooked her fingers into the waistband of Alara's loosely fitted skirt, and yanked it down in one swift brutal motion. Gasps exploded across the cafeteria as the skirt crumpled pathetically around Alara's ankles. Everything froze. Time, voices, hearts. Alara stood stock still in her simple white slip, tremors quaking through her body as laughter began to roar around her like a vicious wildfire. Madison smirked in triumph, expecting Alara to cry, scream, or run away humiliated. But in that moment, something inside Alara ignited. Instead of fleeing, Alara slowly lifted her chin, her eyes blazing with a mix of sorrow, fury, and unbreakable strength born of every sleepless night she endured beside her father's hospital bed, every dollar her mother scraped together to keep them afloat, every prayer she whispered into her pillow begging for just one chance to be seen. She calmly stepped out of her discarded skirt, straightened her shoulders, and, with a voice clear as crystal, spoke words that would echo through Crestwood's halls for years. If my clothes make you feel powerful, keep them. I don't need stitched fabric to remind me of my worth. The cafeteria plunged into stunned silence. Madison's victorious grin vanished, disbelief shattering across her face. Alara didn't cry. She didn't run. Barely breathing, she kicked the skirt aside and walked, head held high, across the lunchroom floor with nothing but dignity wrapped around her like armor. Her feet might have been trembling, but her courage left every soul watching stirred to the core. Whispers crackled from table to table. For the first time, Alara wasn't invisible, she was unforgettable. Over the next days, the story spread like wildfire throughout the school, passed along not with ridicule, but awe. A few brave students approached her during class breaks. First came Maya, a soft-spoken art student who once endured relentless mocking for her stutter. Then Jonah, a lanky athlete with scars on his forearms he normally kept hidden beneath long sleeves. One by one, students who knew what pain tasted like began to gravitate toward Alara, quietly offering smiles, kind words, a place at their lunch table. They didn't ask her to change. They simply saw her. And that was everything. Madison and the Vipers tried to regain control through vicious rumors, but something had shifted. Teachers whispered about Alara's courage in the staff room. Even the principal, Mr. Connor, called her in, not to scold, but to thank her for her remarkable grace under cruelty. A petition started circulating calling for anti-bullying reforms. The cafeteria incident, once intended to humiliate Alara, became a symbol of how resilience could flip cruelty onto its knees. Madison, shaken and haunted by the backlash, was forced to watch the tide turn. Her smug confidence melted as she saw her kingdom crumble, her friends drifting away, repulsed by her actions. Over time, her name became synonymous with shame, not power. Meanwhile, Alara blossomed. She joined the drama club, even though speaking on stage terrified her, because she wanted to prove to herself that fear would no longer rule her life. With Maya painting backdrops, Jonah crafting scripts, and others cheering her on, she performed her first monologue at the school's winter showcase. Under glittering stage lights, she delivered a powerful piece about grief, kindness, and rising from brokenness. By the final line, half the audience was in tears, including her mother, who clutched her chest with pride so fierce it hurt. As applause thundered like a heartbeat through the auditorium, Alara realized that the moment her skirt had been yanked wasn't the most important part of her story. It was merely the spark that set her spirit ablaze. When spring arrived, Crestwood High crowned its annual Heart of Courage award. For years, it had gone unnoticed. This time, the entire auditorium stood on their feet as Alara's name was called. She didn't wear designer clothes or flawless makeup. She simply walked forward in a modest lavender dress her mother had sewn by hand and accepted the award with tears in her eyes. Through shaking breaths, she dedicated her win to every girl or boy who's been broken, belittled, bullied, or bruised. May you always remember, your worth isn't defined by the cruelty of others but by the kindness you dare to give yourself. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Even Madison, sitting alone in the back row, lowered her gaze, tears clinging to her lashes, realizing too late that true power was never hers to wield. Life didn't become perfect. Alara still had nights where memories clawed at her heart and mornings where confidence felt like a costume. But now she had friends who loved her, a school that respected her, and a voice that trembled but refused to stay silent. She became a quiet champion, helping other new students find their footing, organizing fundraisers for anti-bullying programs, speaking openly about resilience, grief, and healing. She carried her pain not like chains, but like wings. By the time graduation came, Alara James wasn't just the girl who stood tall after being humiliated, she was a beacon of hope whose bravery sparked a revolution of compassion. So, if this story touched even the smallest corner of your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to feel seen, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope so we can spread more stories that remind the world kindness still matters.